Get YouTube, how's it going, everybody? Got for you guys today my second upload of today, and if you guys missed the first upload, a link to that will be down in the description, so make sure to go check that out, then come back to this one. And if you guys do enjoy the return of Wi-Fi battles, and as I said, they are going to be more frequent so long as you guys do show support, then by all means make sure to hit that like button, guys. Much like always, let's try to get 300 likes or more. And this actually turned out to be an extremely close battle, and it is a UU battle, as you can see. But before I talk about team preview, I just want to say that I kind of came up with the schedule of how I want to upload. I want to do like 2 PS live battles one day, then the day after do 1 live battle and then a Wi-Fi battle, and kind of keep that going as long as I can. Or if you guys want me to maybe do something different, then let me know in the comment section below. But that means that at least 1 showdown live battle will be uploaded every day, if not then 1 showdown video in general. But yeah, anyways, looking at team preview, as I said, this is indeed a UU battle. So looking at his team, I knew that going into this battle, if I'm able to get up my hazards, they will be here to remain for the whole game. Also, if I get rid of his Slowbro and set up a sword dance with my Lucario late game, I should be able to sweep him, although I am going to have to break the potential focus sash on Alakazam to be able to do that. And as I said, I also have to get rid of Slowbro. So he's going to be leading off with Infernape, as I'm going to be leading off with Ampharos, expecting him just to want to go for the Stealth Rocks or maybe go for a U-turn or something along those lines. I go ahead and Mega Evolve, and seeing that he didn't have a ground type, I knew that my best move to go for was going to be the Volt Switch. As he ends up going straight for the U-turn, he gets a crit turn 1, and already I thought that this battle was going to go downhill for me as he brings in the Porygon 2. This Porygon 2 was so frustrating, just because before this battle started, when I chose Fortress, I was like, okay, I need to put Toxic over Gyro Ball because there's really no reason to run Gyro Ball on Fortress. And you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to put Toxic. So not only would I have been able to Toxic this Yanmega, but I also would have been able to Toxic Porygon 2 later in the battle. So I stay in thinking that he might want to go for Protect or something along those lines. Although looking back at it, I probably should have just hard switched out so I wouldn't have taken the huge damage from Air Slash. So that was just a really dumb play on my part. As I Volt Switch into my Mega Ampharos, I'm going to take the opportunity just to go for another Volt Switch because really I have no reason not to. I'm very positive that with me being modest max special attack, I will be able to OHKO this Yanmega. So he ends up going for the Protect. I guess just wanted to get back a little bit more of leftovers recovery as he ends up switching directly into his Porygon 2. I am perfectly fine with this, seeing as I will be able to just constantly wear down this Porygon 2 and no longer have to really worry about it. So I Volt Switch right into my Victini thinking, alright, the V-Crate is way too obvious, so he's probably going to predict me to U-turn a Bolt Strike and leave in Porygon 2. This way I can get rid of it early in the battle. But no, he ends up making the very safe play by switching into his Slowbro. Thankfully, he doesn't have the Rocky Helmet, which I was a little bit worried about, and you're going to see that him actually not having Rocky Helmet does play a pretty crucial role later in the battle. So seeing that V-Crate obviously did practically no damage, I'm going to be forced to switch out, and I am locked into V-Crate as I switch into my Ampharos. This is a weird Ampharos set. It's Rest Talk with Dragon Pulse and Volt Switch, and I believe I got the idea from a post on the Smogon forums like 2 months ago or so. So if he did want to go for Toxic, or if he did burn me with the Scald, I could just rest off the damage. So I really wasn't worried about anything that Slowbro wanted to do to me. As he makes the safe switch back into Porygon 2, I Volt Switch out to my Victini, and after getting off that Volt Switch damage, I was very confident that Porygon 2 was going to get knocked out next turn that it switched in. And you're going to see that that ends up playing two crucial, well, not two crucial roles, but it ends up playing 2 roles later in this battle. So I U-turn out on the obvious switch into Slowbro, back into my Mega Ampharos, and here I'm thinking, alright, he's going to switch in Porygon 2 so I can die off to the spikes as I Volt Switch. Then that gives him a free switch into his Infernape or into his Alakazam. So predicting him to bring in Porygon 2 as fodder to the layer spikes, I switch into my Suicune so I could then prevent him from wanting to counter my Ampharos, because he can't really touch Suicune, and Suicune being a Sleep Talk variant can really just set up on his whole team and sweep him. Although that is not the case, as he makes a very odd switch into Infernape, and then I go for the Scald as he brings in Yanmega. Unfortunately for him, I end up getting a crit, but to be perfectly honest, I doubt that crit was really game changing, and just, yeah, I mean, as long as I have Mega Ampharos, Yanmega can really do nothing to me, so I have nothing to worry about coming from this Mega Yanmega. I really just said Mega Yanmega. From this Yanmega, sorry. So, he unfortunately misses the Air Slash, but that would have done like maybe 5 points of damage, and you're going to see that extra little bit of damage doesn't play a role whatsoever later in the game. As I just safely go for the Volt Switch, I'm going to be able to get rid of the Yanmega, which means I no longer have to worry about it, which is great. As I bring in my Fortress, again thinking that, hey, Porygon 2 gets knocked out by its next Spike Switch, and so I don't have to worry about it going for the Recover, but you know what happens? It lives on literally 1%, and oh, this just really frustrated me because, one, I'm supposed to have Toxic, but I didn't put it on it, and then two, he's going to be able to go for the Recover 2 turns in a row if he really wants to, but I guess it isn't too bad just because I am going to be able to get up all 3 layer of my spikes. Unfortunately, he still has his possible Focus Sash on Alakazam, and he still has Slowbro, which means my Lucario can't come in, set up a Swords Dance on that Porygon 2 and plow through his team, which is, again, frustrating me. So he's going to bring in the Infernape, and I do predict him to over-predict and not go for the Flare Blitz, Fire Blast, or whatever fire move he has. As he Earthquakes, I'm going to be able to Volt Switch directly on out into my Suicune, which means that I can take any one move coming from this Infernape and get off a huge amount of damage with the Scald Ball. Predicting him to switch out, I'm actually going to go for the Calm Mind. And after going for this Calm Mind, I was thinking, well, I should be in a position where my Suicune can honestly just sweep through his team. Unfortunately, Alakazam do tend to carry Encore, which means if I go for another Calm Mind this turn, he can easily bring in Alakazam, Encore me into Calm Mind, and then I would be forced to switch out and things could go downhill for me at that point. Fortunately though, he stays in as I Scald the Porygon 2. I don't knock him out and I don't get the burn, and I don't want to stay in the Calm Mind in the options that he does bring in Alakazam, but I predict him just to go for another Recover or maybe even just go for like a Discharge or Thunderbolt, and I switch directly into my Nidoking, allow me to get up my Stealth Rocks, which means I have 3 layers of Spikes and Stealth Rocks up. He has no form of getting rid of them, which puts me in a very good advantage in this battle. So I switched right into my Fortress, and I don't have Toxic, as I've stated, so I'm going to be forced to just go for the Volt Switch, because I can still save my Fortress for Death Fodder later in the battle. So I'm going to go ahead and Volt Switch right on out into my Victini, and here I was very close to going for the V-Crate, but because he's been constantly switching in Slowbro, I actually end up going for the U-turn, as I get off a solid chunk of damage. He's severely worn down to the point where it doesn't really matter if he does want to switch out to get Regenerator. Once he comes back in, he will most likely get knocked out by a V-Crate, so I can just safely bring in Nidoqueen and I can go for the Sludge Wave or Earth Power. It doesn't really matter as I'm able to knock him out. He's going to go ahead and bring in the Alakazam. I don't want to stay in just because he can knock me out with a Psyshock or Psychic, so I decided to fodder off my Fortress. So the fact that I kept Fortress really did come in handy in this situation, allow me to get a free switch into my Victini, and this is where him not having Rocky Helmet on Slowbro really comes in handy, because at full HP, if he was Life Orb for some odd reason, I can easily live a Shadow Ball, break his Focus Sash, then bring in Lucario Extreme Speed, and I just win the battle with Lucario. But he ends up switching directly into his Infernape, predicting me to go for the U-turn, as I can safely go for the Extreme Speed. I had no reason to worry about him going for a Mach Punch or a Vacuum Wave, just because Extreme Speed is +2 priority, as where Vacuum Wave and Mach Punch are +1 priority. So he's going to bring in the Heracross. Even after all the entry hazards damage, an Adamant Extreme Speed will not be able to knock him out. So I switched directly into my Nidoqueen, just basically as Death Fodder, but I'm able to live, and it turns out that he's Guts with Flame Orb, and I have not seen that since like early Black and White UU, which is very interesting, because I remember Flame Orb Heracross running Sword Dance, which made it just a scary wall breaker. So I'm gonna bring in my Victini, and I end up going for the U-turn. To be honest, I'm not really sure why I did that. I guess I was thinking that if I did V-Crate, he would get a free switch into Alakazam, and then he could Shadow Ball me. But I guess looking back at it, there was really no reason for me not to V-Crate, as I just switched right into, as I U-turn onto my Ampharos, sorry. He's gonna be able to knock me out, as I can now just bring back in Lucario and Extreme Speed. Again, I could have just brought in Victini to U-turn. Okay, I had this battle late at night, so I make some questionable plays, not gonna lie. But in the long run, it doesn't really change the outcome, as he brings in Alakazam. I don't want to stay in and Extreme Speed, just because he could possibly knock me out with a Focus Blast, and I don't want to rely on V-Crate knocking out Porygon too, so I decided just to fodder off my Suicune. He ended up getting a Spadef drop, which I don't know how much it really mattered, because maybe I would have been able to live the Energy Ball after Focus Blast, but it's fine. So I bring in Victini. As I said, I can live even a Shadow Ball that is Life Orb boosted, and I'm going to go ahead and go for the U-turn because I really have no reason to V-Crate at this point, as I can U-turn on now into my Lucario. At this point, I've basically won the battle. All I have to do is close combat this Porygon 2, go for the Extreme Speed on Alakazam, break his possible Focus Sash, allow him to knock me out with Focus Blast, and then bring in Victini. As long as he doesn't crit me with the Shadow Ball, I win the game. So it turns out that I don't even bring him down to his possible Focus Sash, as he unfortunately misses Focus Blast. And the reason why I have Bullet Punch is because I don't have Heart Scales in game right now, so I couldn't teach it Crunch, which is why Slowbro was even more of a big problem going into this game. But luckily in the end I was able to pull out the very narrow 2-0 victory in my favor, and hopefully you guys did enjoy, and if you did, then make sure to hit the like button, guys. Support is greatly appreciated, as I've already stated before. And if you guys missed my previous Wi-Fi battle, a link to that will be on your screen, as well as my 2 uploads from yesterday, so make sure to go check those out. And with that being said, I will see you all tomorrow with 2 more uploads. So later, everybody.